Hey everybody, Ezel Senpai here with a deck profile update. With set 10 now being released, Raging Clash of the Blade Fang, gotta be careful of how I pronounce it, I can mess it up, it was time to update this deck. Now, there isn't a lot that has changed, so I'll go through here and quickly show off the whole deck. I'm not going to go into too much detail about cards that are already here. I'm just going to explain cards that I've added recently and some of the newer stuff. Alright, let's jump right into it. So starting with grade 3s, we have our 4 Grand Ezel Scissors and 4 Raven-Haired Ezel. Now, a lot of people will argue, why not use the Cross-Ride? There's no point. There's no point to use Cross-Ride anymore. Don't get me wrong, I still love my Platinum Ezel Cross-Ride, but I need something a bit more effective. Raven-Haired Ezel's here as a good way to end the game. You know, with his Limit Break 5, his Ultimate Break, it forces the opponent to use only grade 1s in their hand. So you're going to be forcing out their Perfect Guards. You're also going to be forcing out their G Guards as well. Grand Ezel is the main grade 3 you want to ride to, and then ultimately Ultimate Ride onto Raven-Haired Ezel, stride to Glorious Reigning Dragon, or Radiant Sword Gurduit, or if you still have it, Mithril Ezel for the push. Now for the grade 2s. We're running 4 Quill, 3 Vivian, 2 Henriness, and 2 Blaster Blade Spirit. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, why so much Counterblast? There's other cards that can do just the same thing for free. You're right. You're absolutely right. This is still a playtest build. I am still testing how this deck works. I mean, everyone's still technically playtesting. So here's my logic behind a few things. The Quill is here for multiple attacks. Can't argue that. Vivian's here as the grade 2 ride. If you're able to ride to Vivian as your grade 2, your opponent is more than likely gonna guard. They don't want you to plus. Henriness is here because we build up a lot of soul in this deck, and I'll explain that with a few cards in my grade 1 lane. Plus, considering we have strides with Gurduit in the name, the plus 3k for Henriness is still always comes in handy. And then Blaster Blade Spirit. Blaster Blade Spirit originally wasn't going to be in this build, but I figured why not have a card that can do both. Be a 10k vanilla on Vanguard Circle, worst worse, and still be able to use it to be able to counterblast and retire something when it's a superior call from the deck. I feel it's a win-win card. It's easily killed, yes, that's true, but all you need to do is just use it the one time. And it is recyclable too, and we'll go into that later. Now for the grade 1 lineup. We're still using the Countercharge Perfect Guards from set 3, Stride Fodders, 3 Crimson Beast Howl, and 3 Night of Morning Light Horsa. I'll just start with the PG. Countercharging is still very important in this particular deck in order to get everything to go off. There are ways around it where you can just use other Perfect Guards now, but I still feel that this sort of Perfect Guard is still relevant. For Stride Fodders, it is still a stride-based deck. It doesn't necessarily need to be a stride-based deck, but being able to stride does help. 3 Crimson Beast Howl is for damage management and soul management. With that in mind, you're able to build up a surplus of soul to use not just with Radiant Sword Gurduit's skill, but also with Henriness' skill as well to Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1. So you're able to fill up your field faster. And then we have the 3 Horsa. Horsa originally wasn't going to be in this build. Normally they'd be Jeffrey, but considering how more decks have become more defensive and are able to guard for higher numbers, I felt the pushing power of higher numbers needed to be prioritized. Now here we are with grade 0. Our start of the deck is still Coel. Still such a good starter. Really, the trigger lineup hasn't changed that much, except I went back to going 8 crit for Sand. I switched out one of the crits for the new vanilla crit from the set 10. For Jeffrey is still really good for soul management and damage management. And I mean, unless you're going to an event where 16 crits is necessary, 4 heal triggers is still the preferred. So now let's move on to the generation zone. Again, not much has changed except for a few things. The newest addition to the deck is Holy Sword of Heavenly Law Graduate. As I experienced during my gauntlet fight with the admin of the Chaos Breaker Dragon page, which those videos should be up here now on the channel, pretty positive they are. Going into Ezel as your first stride is still good, it just depends on the matchup. So the alternative first stride is Heavenly Law Graduate. Heavenly Law Graduate is such a cool card. Yeah, you do have to discard 1 card to use its skill, but again, that isn't too bad. Again, it all depends on where you're at in the game. You can go Graduate first or Ezel first. Since I do have a viable first stride now with Heavenly Law, it's very possible to save the Ezels for later. Especially when you're going up against Link Joker when they only have one of your cards unlocked or something. You don't need to waste that first Ezel stride to unlock it. You can deal with having 1 locked card, but still be able to spam the field out with Graduate skill. Now you're also probably thinking, okay, there's Seabreeze, and I'm counting 1, 2, 3 Slimy Flares. Why? Well, I'm still playtesting like I've mentioned in the video, and Seabreeze is still a very important stride, especially if the Grade 2 game is being played. I don't want to take the chance. It may as well just be a stride that doesn't get used, although there should be a spot for it later, but for right now, Seabreeze is in the stand and 3 Slimy Flares. Slimy Flare at 3, I find, is still really, really good. I kind of wish Golds had gotten a new G-Guard during the set, but we're getting the one for Fighter Selection, which isn't too bad either, so, you know, that's going to be really, really cool. The Slimy Flare allows the player to return something, so that's why the Flare is at 3 in this deck. Well, that'll conclude this deck profile video of Ezel. If you liked what you saw, please consider pushing the like button and subscribing. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I'll let you get back to them as quickly as I possibly can. Also, links below, go check those out. Follow me on Facebook. We got the Ezel page going here. Follow me on Twitter. Everything I post on the Facebook page ends up on Twitter anyway, so why not both? And also consider sponsoring me for Patreon. Patreon is kind of a new thing I'm trying, and hopefully later on I actually can do something with it. But in the meantime, why not just consider it? $1 a month. Alright, well that'll do it, and I'll catch you guys in the next game. Remember, stay humble.